sometimes people can think, oh, is it ministry, church, or is it business, or is it this career? I actually don't think it's an ultimatum.
As a believer of Jesus Christ, you're actually called to be a minister wherever you go. Everywhere I set my foot is his ground.
Grief, not only for you guys, but for all those that you lead.
So I remember asking God, like, why do bad things happen to good people?
Okay, God, even if you didn't do what I thought you would do, I will still choose you.
What would you say to someone that's like I don't feel like I have the goods. I'm doubting.
It's stepping out, like you said, out of the boat, trusting God. If he's prompted you to do it, go and do it.
If we can create a space for someone to come and feel loved, or feed them, or pray with them, then what an opportunity, what a privilege.
We serve a Saviour who suffered and surrendered and humbled himself. He humbled his own will. Welcome back to another episode of Parable Essentials. My name's Peter Toggs, my wife and I, Laura, lead pastors of Parable Church. How good it is to have you a part of this episode. Listen, this blesses us as much it may bless you. It's a labor of love from us and for so many of our team. We create these podcasts where we talk about leadership, culture, building community. As a young pioneering church, we're just in discussions about that journey, and it is our pleasure to be hosting this. And if you're just a fly on the wall tuning in online, we're sure glad to have you a part of the journey. Listen, do me a favor, subscribe, share it around if this is helping you, equipping you, like it, all the stuff you do online these days. I don't know what you do, but I'm sure you do something. Hit that button, whatever that button is. I think it's the subscribe button. So listen, it's awesome. Today, I'm excited for today's episode as we continue to just keep unpacking culture, leadership, community, and fellowship. And today, I have with me my good friends, Sam and Sophie Kassis. Give it up for them, guys. Everyone, let me hear the crowd go wild. Guys, how good is it to have you on today's Parable podcast? Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us, mate.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Pete, thank you.
These guys have just run from their office. They lead a business together, and they're kind of probably in between meetings, lunch break, and they've joined me on this podcast, which is just so cool. Guys, I'm so glad that you are here. And we're so glad to have you a part of our church as well. And witnessing and watching your journey and seeing you guys come to be a part of it, but then just hit the ground running in being a part of the answer at Parable has just been a joy to really watch and see. You have three kids. Three beautiful children, and you guys have been married for
almost 15 years.
Wow.
October will be 15 years, yeah.
Now you're at that stage where you can give advice for marriage. If you could give any advice, I mean, we're just going to start out. Like, if there's anything you've learned and you could give anyone advice, this is also a marriage podcast as well. I'm joking.
We're not quite 15 years.
Yeah,
so
not yet. But if you could, like, what advice would you give for anyone listening in?
Wow. What advice would I give? The biggest advice I think I would give is good communication.
Oh, yes.
100%.
I think that's something actually I wasn't very good at.
Right.
And probably Sam's helped me with that, but just to communicate well.
Yeah.
And communicate often. And,
Communication is so key, hey?
Man, and don't be afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, you know, you're meant to be married to this person and then meant to know everything about you and vice versa. And sometimes, you know, people hold back from actually communicating and speaking through things, but then being humble enough to take it on the chin sometimes and go, yeah, you know what? But it's a two-way street, and that's the beauty of it. So
that's the thing. And the thing I find about communication, I think this is in leadership, I think it's in all relationships. It's not sometimes what you need to communicate. Sometimes it's a whole lot to do with how you communicate.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Your tone, your gestures, your body language, and you're always communicating something. Yeah. Believe me, being married for almost 17 years, I think we are coming up to, I have learnt it's not what I say, it's how I say it. In fact, one of the things we are building at Parable is, if you've been on the journey, you'd know this, is I've got this thing called the characteristics of Parable. One of them is a tone of grace. And I think it's so important, like the tone of the way we speak to one another. Yeah. I think it's important because it's not about what we need to communicate sometimes. The power is in how you actually communicate. Look at these guys hitting the ground running with some leadership wisdom. Oh my goodness, calm down. Guys, we want to get to know you a bit. Okay, for those of you that may have never met Sam and Soph, these guys have a world of experience in ministry, church, leadership. You've experienced the mountaintops and you've walked the valleys in ministry and in church. You've experienced the great times and the disappointing times. And I think that's part of life. That's part of the journey of being a part of a family and church. But you guys come with the wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And I'm excited because you guys have taken on our discipleship and our what we call here home groups and neighborhood groups, which is really making church feel personal. As church continues to grow, I really want to make sure that church continues to feel personal. And we're not building a crowd, we're building community.
That's right.
And church is family. And I've come from a church that was large and incredible and big. But the beauty of that church is you felt connected. And I think there is a way we can continue to grow as a church and reach people and see the lost come home, but yet still feel very connected. And my hope is that everyone would find home. Yes. Everyone would find their people. But tell us a little bit about your ministry journey. First of all, how did you guys meet real quick? How did you...
So we met in church. Yeah. So I grew up at church and I started going about year 4. And then Soph came when you were 18.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And then
did you come from a church background?
No.
Right.
No. Okay. I was just that girl that rocked up with a hungry heart.
Beautiful.
And so I was 18 when I first stepped foot in a church, like any church, church, this church. And I was really good friends with Sam's sister.
Yes.
And so that's where it began.
Yeah.
I would hang out with his sister and his family. I really got to know Sam's family first, which was really beautiful. And it stemmed from there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's
really
so cool.
Yeah.
And then married 15 years, three kids. Beautiful children. Yeah. And then did you guys get involved in ministry kind of straight away? Tell us a little bit about that.
When I was dating Soph, I was kind of being transitioned into being a youth pastor at the time at the church we were at. And Soph would say she married Sam and inherited 100 youth. So it's that's kind of what happened. We just kind of we just hit the ground running. So
beautiful.
I'd already sort of taken on the youth ministry kind of a year before we got married, and then we kind of hit the ground running. The moment we were married, it was like we were both on and let's go for it.
And we kind of had met.
We'd met a few times, at different Youth Alive events. And, so cool. ACC events and stuff, which is cool.
Tell us a little bit about your youth ministry experience. So you guys used to be youth pastors. Incredible youth pastors. What was that like? What was that journey
It was like the time of our life, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had heaps of fun. Wow. Some of our favourite ministry memories are in youth ministry. Like it's incredible. Yeah.
It was such a pleasure. It was such a privilege. It was... it was just the best.
It was. So we did it for 10 years.
Wow.
And
I think that's a decent amount of time.
Yeah, it was. And I think during that time, like you've done it for, similar, if not longer, but just seeing, these 12, 13-year-olds come on board and then, they're all married, they all get married and find partners and have kids, and, you're there for their weddings and doing their ceremonies, and then you're there for their kids, dedications and stuff, and actually journeying with them is incredible. So it's been pretty fun to watch that happen.
It was it's my proudest moments being a youth pastor. For me, I was around 14, 15 years a youth pastor, and that's long enough to see people grow up. And one of my proudest moments, or if not the proudest moment as youth pastor, is when you see kids grow up in your youth ministry, become adults, but they bring their newborns into church and they're dedicating their kids. And you're kind of like, this is what it's all about. And I think it's so important if there's youth pastors listening in, it's, we're not discipling them to the youth ministry. No. We're discipling them to Jesus, but ultimately the church, because youth ministry is a season of their life. And something I used to always say to our youth ministry back then is the church doesn't exist because of the youth ministry exists because of the church. Because if not, you can begin to disciple people to yourself, and then your time comes to an end in youth, and then you've got these young people who, after they finish high school, they kind of get stuck. And that's something that I think we need to continue to work out. How do we grow young people into these men and women of God and mature in the things of God, 100%. Right? Was that your experience?
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely our experience. And we've still got, even though 5 years ago, we sort of handed the youth ministry onto another couple. Yeah. And the connections we still have with a lot of our core team and leaders at the time that were 12, 13 when we first started to, in their early 20s, we're still strongly connected to them and strongly, but there's that, you get it, there's just this bond that you have with them. Yeah. And you kind of, even though they're too old to be your own kids, but you still have this love for them like they're your own children.
Wow. You're marrying beautiful young lady next year.
Next year. Cool. So that'll be another cool wedding. That'll be exciting.
You know what was a full circle moment for us was Shani. Yeah. Her older brother was in our youth ministry years ago. And now Shani's leading our daughter in Parable High.
Didn't know that. That is amazing.
So that is the beauty of it all. Yeah. And so that is a constant blessing when I think about kind of where we've come from and just watching Shani and Jay doing their thing so well, and just that full circle moment of, oh my goodness.
This incredible connection.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of church and generations, right? Yes. I think God works in generations, and why we will, as a church, have an emphasis on generations and really seeing them rise up, because they should go from strength to strength. Did you know Shani? But for those that don't know, Shani's our youth pastor over here. Yeah. So, you knew her back then, but she probably would have been
a little blonde-haired, pigtail, gorgeous thing while we'd be working at church midweek. She'd be, pottering around.
Wow. So you guys were youth pastors, 10 years, incredible season and time. In that same time, you also you volunteers as youth pastors.
Yeah, so we volunteered for a good season, and then we were paid on staff 1 day a week for a season. Right. But pretty much was between me and Soph sort of thing. Yeah. So we didn't. We just knew that I was working full time, Soph was working full time, and as a school teacher, me as a draftee at an office in Bella Vista, and great business owners at the time, like they just were so generous with allowing me to do what I needed to do as a youth pastor. But we knew it hit a point where, we just needed to take the plunge so that we could freely do what we needed to do, and we knew that God put it on our heart without being bound by a financial burden. So, took the plunge. We started our business. This January will be 10 years.
Wow.
And, so that just gave us the freedom and opportunity to basically work in ministry and not be a financial burden to the church at the time.
Wow.
And, it was great. So that basically funded Soph and I to do ministry together and do it freely for a good season. And the juggle between business and ministry, I think, has always been a tension, but it's been incredible. Yeah.
Well, that's such an example, I think, and that's so inspiring, because I think I've always said that you sometimes can hit a lid in ministry and in personal life, but I think when you hit a limitation, you've got to get innovative and how you do that. And innovation always comes from limitation. All right, we've hit a limit here. Yes. How do we innovate? Okay, we're going to innovate. You guys start a business, which is just amazing. But I'm so inspired by that, because I think in my journey of leadership is that sometimes people think it's either or. And I don't think you have to choose. Look, don't get me wrong. God calls you. He's purposed you on earth for such a time as this, and it's between you and God what he calls you to. But I think sometimes people can think, is it ministry, church, or is it business, or is it this career? I actually don't think you have. it's an ultimatum.
No, it's
right?
not. It's not. It's actually not at all. And I think that's almost a lie most people believe, or that they, like you said, a limitation they believe on their life. It's actually not the case at all. Jesus is the high priest, but he's also the king. And if we're called to be in his image and walk the face of the earth with him living in us and through us, we're actually called to be priests and ministers, but also kings in our own right, and queens in our own right in what we do and how we do it. And that's the privilege, is actually living royal, but also living as a minister. And look, we know that everybody's got different giftings. Some are called to be pastors, some are more in the prophetic sense, and all these areas, but in the fivefold ministry gifts. But at the end of the day, you're actually called to be what you are, no matter where you are. Yeah. So, even with us stepping out of ministry for a season and focusing a bit more on business for a little season for us, coming to the realisation that actually we're called to be ministers regardless of whether it's in a four walls church environment or in the business platform. As a believer of Jesus Christ, you're actually called to be a minister wherever you go. Everywhere I set my foot is his ground. So what does that mean for our environment? What does it mean for the people that you encounter? What does it mean for your staff that's in your business? Are they under that covering of blessing? Are you being that covering of blessing for them? Are you showing them what it's like to have Christ in your life? So be that minister, no matter where you go, is actually really, really, it's freeing, mate. It's empowering. It's incredible.
Wow. That is so cool. I love that whole idea of that we're ministers. Yeah. And wherever we are, whether we are, in a business or doing a trade, or whether we are building like hands-on in the church, a pastor in the church, we're all called to be ministers, you know? And so I love that idea that you guys, you went, okay, how do we do this as a family? Now, did that come with I'm sure it came with its tensions of time management. Were kids born then?
Yes. So at the time, it was a huge step of faith, and we were blessed to have family that helped us, supported us with places to live and all that sort of stuff during the season. But you were on maternity leave, weren't you? So we just had Willow. Mm-hmm. Willow was only a couple of months old, and Soph was on maternity leave, so we had no income from Soph, and it was just a step of faith.
Wow!
It was just like, all right, well, let's do it.
And I think God always meets you on the other side.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's never failed us. It's consistently grown and been a blessing. And, the stuff that we get to do and work on is just incredible. Beautiful. So we're really blessed and met so many cool people on the way and so many amazing clients along the way.
Cool.
So it's really cool.
So you guys are in ministry. You started business. And life throws challenges your way. Ministry throws challenges. I know someone close to you, ended up in a car accident, which was part of your youth ministry, key part of youth ministry, key part of church. Grief, not only for you guys, but for all those that you lead. Tell me, what was that like, and how did you walk through that season, and what can we learn from it?
Life lifes, doesn't it? And there's highs and lows. That was a bit of a blindside, that one. I remember just questioning God. The age-old question, why do bad things happen to good people? Yeah. This particular man was exceptional, and it was just a joy to be part of his journey. And we even in the business world had a place for him in the future. He never knew that, but we, just his gifting, we thought, we could see. Anyway, we had his future in mind, just as his, spiritual leaders, but also for work and anything. So I remember asking God, why do bad things happen to good people? And I remember wrestling with him with that. And I did get an answer. I don't know if now's the time to share that, but he did give me a part answer to that, and that brought me a lot of comfort in that season. And we just clung to Jesus through that. We just, we just let ourselves grieve. We just, I don't know. Probably if we went back, we could have, done better in that season, but God met us where we were at and brought us through, and
the gift of community, right? And in that time, that was it's rough. Did you guys all come around each other? You had your youth kids who would have been grown up by this point.
So they that group of mates, they really stood together, and it was beautiful to see, but it's also heartbreaking at the same time.
Totally.
I think in that season, if there's one thing God taught me is he's actually calling people to a place where they live out of a place where even if he doesn't do what they expect him to do, that they'll still follow him, they'll still love him. Yeah. And that was a question I asked God, or Sam and Sophie, like, why, God? Why? I know you can heal him. I know you can restore him. And it was a journey of decline, and there'd be glimmers of hope every now and again. So your heart was just torn consistently. But, in his passing, I was just declaring that, okay, God, even if you didn't do what I thought you would do, I will still choose you. I will still follow you. And just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like, that story there, they declare, God is with us, all this sort of stuff. And then they said one line, and this is the biggest declaration of faith in that whole story, is when they said, even if he doesn't, we will still.
Wow.
And that for me, that moment is like, well, God, even if you don't do what I think you should do, even if you don't
what
do
we know he can
what
do.
we know you can do, and even if you don't do what seems like the best thing for me or others in this situation, I will still choose you.
Beautiful.
And I think God's calling a lot of believers to walk in that and actually have that conviction for themselves.
Wow. Man, that's beautiful. Guys, thanks, so much for just opening up a little bit there. And I know that was a big, big season, and, still brings feelings. And I still think about when we were in youth ministry and there was a young man who honestly was going to be the next leader, youth pastor, and similar thing, and tragically passed away. And what that can do to either derail you or, keep you on course and going, God, even if you don't, we're still going to praise you. And I think it was such a life-defining moment, right? Fast forward, you come through that season, or you still, I know you're still walking through that. Community, fellowship, church. What's been your experience? And even now in Parable Church, like with you guys heading up, our small groups and making that feel personal. What's been your discovery in your life and ministry, but also just as we continue to build church? What are some priorities? What's important? How do we make church continue to feel personal, warm?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Do you want to answer?
Yeah, I love the Bride. I love the local church. I believe in it. I've been blessed by it. I've been hurt by it.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's God's heart, his plan. He puts people together. He desires that. He wants that. And there's beauty in that.
Yeah.
And so, we've got a heart for it's funny how quickly you fall in love with community and people. And that's kind of been what we've felt here at Parable. You think, how did I live without these people? And that's been beautiful for us. But we're called to build community. We're called to create community. And we just want to see people get that revelation and it multiply and it circulate and it be organic and organic and intentional at the same time, where people feel a call to do it for themselves and for others. I
think it's just going back to basics. Like, at the end of the day, it's pretty obvious that God shook something up in the world and in the church life, in churches as we know it, a few years ago. And I think the intent was to bring us back to basics. Like, what's the church all about, and what are we here for?
Right.
We're here for people.
Yep.
And going back to that strong community setting where, someone needs help around them. And there's community there, and there's love there, and there's fostering that. And I love that you said that about, even though we can grow into a big church, which is what God intends. He wants his church to be large. Like, God's intent is that the world will know his name.
Beautiful.
And be reunited to him in union as they should be and as they were created to be. That's his heart and his intention. And we get the honour and privilege of being part of that. Wow. And the beauty of home groups is creating those environments where people are strongly connected, but then also growing together, fostering this community together, sharing food together, sharing the goodness of God together, helping one another when one's down and needs help. But also growing. And right now we're in a season where it's like we need leaders because our church is growing and it has been flourishing, and it's incredible that it's only been, like you said, 18 months, you said the other day. Like 18 months to see what God has done is absolutely outstanding, and it's so cool to see. And we're just in a position now where it's like, well, we need ministers that can actually feel a hunger and a desire to actually have people in their home or encourage and foster these environments, and just because that's the need right now.
Yeah. What would you say to someone that's like, I hear what you're saying. I would love to, whether in our church or any other ministries or organisations, they go, I don't feel like I have the goods. I'm doubting whether I can facilitate a small group and meet with these guys and, have some level of responsibility to making sure these guys feel, like they're connected and maturing in the things of God. What would your encouragement be, or challenge? What would you say to someone like that that's holding back?
I just think if you take the step, you watch God do what he needs to do. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, God's strength is always evident in your weakness. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when you take that step and go, all right, God, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to give it a crack because I feel prompted in my heart that that's what you've done. Wow. And you take that step of faith, you watch him meet you. You watch him equip you. You watch eventually you start to operate and as you're speaking, you're like, oh, this is not me. This is the Holy Spirit, man. This is flowing through me. Yeah. And giving him opportunity to work through you is awesome. If you stay comfortable,
100%.
You're never gonna see him operate in your life the way he
you don't need faith to stay in the boat.
No,
faith operates outside of the boat.
100%.
When it's like, I don't know what I'm doing exactly, and that's where you need God.
That's the beauty of it. Like, and that's what God wants. Like it's not easy, but gosh, it's rewarding.
It really is.
My dad always used to say to me, Sam, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Wow.
And and it's true about every area of your life. If it's easy, everyone would do it. If business was easy, everyone would have a business. You know what I mean? If running a home group was easy, everyone would run a home group. It's not easy, but it's stepping out, like you said, out of the boat, trusting God. If He's prompted you to do it, go and do it. Yeah. Give it a crack. You've only got
It's so true.
You can't go wrong with him.
Absolutely. It's funny what I've seen as I've grown up in church, and even in my own personal experience, it's like, there's always a call out like to get involved and serve, and there's a pastor or an MC on stage, and one thing I've always heard, even today and in my years of ministry, is when there's that call to get involved or serve or a prompting, something I always hear is, I'm going to pray about it. And I get that. I understand. You want to pray about it. You want to make sure you do have the availability and because there is a cost in it. Yeah. But I also go, look, I can tell you, it's easy for me as a pastor to say this, by the way, so I understand my position. Yeah. But I can tell you what God's answer will be, because God's not going to go, listen, I don't think you should serve in the thing I care about so much. Like, I don't think God's going to, and sometimes I think we linger and we pray more so. That's another way of saying, I need to make sure this suits my needs. And the reality with service and serving people, it's going to be inconvenient. It's not meant to suit your needs. It may be a bit out of your comfort zone, because that's what serving the Lord is. We serve a Savior who suffered and surrendered and humbled himself. He humbled his own will. He could have flipped everyone upside down and says, you're not taking me to the cross, but he willingly surrendered his life, because he said, not my will, your will be done. Right. And I think when it comes to service, when it comes to leading people, and I'm trying to get behind supporting you guys when it comes to, we need more home group facilitators, because you're right, as church grows, people want to be planted and connected in, and what that's going to mean is people who step up, and you don't have to know it all. What I love about what you guys are doing in a few weeks is you're going to be training some people and training. What can we expect from that?
We just love that there's been so many people that are already doing it and have done it just out of a place of love necessity and that, like you're saying, that feeling of prompting, and they're just stepping in it, which is really cool. So it's grabbing those team leaders that are already doing that, and then any new facilitators that want to take on the role.
So good.
And just training them. And our thing is encouraging them in there's actually freedom in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can look at it as like, oh, there's so much things that you've got to do. Sure. It's actually not the case at all. So we want to cast a bit of a freedom framework to them, just so they understand that there is a framework.
Yeah.
But there's freedom in it because people are different, and community groups are different, and home groups are different, and environments are different. You know, whether it's a small family, whether it's a blokes group, whether it's a women's group, it doesn't matter, or couples group or young adults group. It's going to look different. Every group's going to look different.
That's
so,
right.
you know, nice framework.
Yeah.
But there's freedom in the framework.
Totally. I love that. I love something you said is we were created for community and also created to create community. And something I love about your guys' story is you kind of built your life in a way where you can do that, create community. I know you're an architect, so you have this skill set to build your home in a way where you wasn't about entertaining people, but where you could build community with people. I mean, I've been over your house a number of times now, and there's been a fire pit out the back, and there's been food, and the kids are running around, and there's a big hoo-ha going on because you guys, I look at your life and I go, wow, these guys aren't just, they don't just know that they're created to be a part of a community, they're created to create it. And where does that come from? Is that just in you? Or is that a revelation you got and a conviction you have? Or because every time I come in your home, it feels like home. It feels like you're just creating this big family that's just expanding.
Yeah, I think it's just God's heart. I don't know. Just to open up. I think when you open up your life, part of that is your home. You know, and so if we can create a space for someone to come and feel loved, or feed them, or pray with them, then what an opportunity, what a privilege.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's. I guess in like when we were in youth, we would always, you know, have the youth over and have meetings, and so maybe it began then, but I think it was something always in our heart.
Yeah, it was always in our heart, and I think honour my parents for a moment, but that's the way they raised me.
Good.
That's the way they had their home. Their home was always a home where no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what background, doesn't matter. Wow. You're always welcome in our home.
I love that.
And there was always food on the table. My mates used to love coming over because they knew they were going to get a good feed. Like it was always food on the table. The fridge was always stocked. The pantry was always full. It was whoever was there, whoever needed food, come. Whoever needed a place to be, come. And mum and dad would always host people, especially like church after church, new people, whatever. And just watching them in that environment and watching how open and how generous they were is just a beautiful thing. And it's really something that inspired me. But I know your parents are very similar in the fact that their house is always open, and they're always, always blessing people and very generous people as well. And I guess coming from those two family environments was something that for us, it's been instilled in us. But it's not just I don't want that to be a limitation for people either. I want people to understand that everyone can choose to be that way. You know, generosity isn't something it's something you choose to be. Yeah. You know, you can choose to be generous. You can come from the most generous environment but choose to be stingy. Wow. But if you choose to be generous, if you're generous with your time, if you're generous with what you have, if you're generous with your home, if you're generous with who you are, all you're doing is displaying the love and grace of God, because that's who He is. Yeah. He's a generous God. Right. He loves you. He's generous, and no matter who you are, where you've come from, His door's always open. So having that environment for other people is important.
So true.
I think on a Sunday, if we bring it back to church, you know, the conversations there are wonderful and they're great, and, you know, you kind of flutter around speaking to all these people, but we're really aware that discipleship needs to happen outside of a Sunday. Yeah. And so for us, the obvious answer is open your home. You know, you can go to a cafe, all of that, but for us, when it comes to discipleship, that's just one way that we feel is important, to open our home, have people there.
I love that.
And it doesn't matter what type of home you have. I think people think that you've got to have a certain type of home to have. Like, it's not the case at all. It's really not. It's actually the biggest lie you can believe is that your place is not good enough.
Yeah.
Is it your home? Yes. Well, invite people into your home.
Yeah.
It's kind of like waiting to be rich before you are generous. You know, it doesn't work that way.
No.
You know, and we see that in the Bible, don't we?
That's,
like you give out of what you've
what you can.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
It's so true. Well, the world of the generous gets larger and larger, you know, and God gives you that grace when you're generous to grow your life in a way that larger family, larger, you know, impact, larger influence. And I think that's something that you guys and so many people that I know are part of our church just exemplify in so many ways.
Yeah,
so,
they do. They really do.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful to see,
cool.
and it's so inspiring. And sometimes it challenges me even more to go, I want to be more like that, you know. And so some people just have a certain grace on them, you know, to do that as well. But it's just so cool. But listen, is there any kind of departing, concluding things you would love to encourage the big podcast world out there? Any wisdom that you would love to speak into everyone as we bring this to a conclusion? What would be your thoughts? No filters. Go for it.
When it comes to maybe discipleship, we used to have this saying at our previous church: "Who are you discipling?" And who's discipling you? And I think that maybe I could leave that as a challenge to people. Sometimes we're waiting for, you know, someone to come and care for us, but maybe it takes us caring for someone else. And there's a maturity to that. But I think everyone needs their people, and sometimes that can be. And I'm aware that can come with pain for some people, but maybe thinking about, well, who are you caring for, and who are you feeding, who are you sowing into, and try to find that person both ways.
Great.
And if everyone did that, can you imagine what a community would look like in that regard?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
it'd be incredible. Incredible.
What would you say, Sammy?
I think I'd just say, just give God an opportunity to show you his goodness and grace.
Come on.
And we can allow fear and worry and concern to rob us of that, but I think the Holy Spirit just really prompted me to say that basically, guys, God is always talking.
Come on.
He's always speaking to you.
Yeah.
He's always speaking to you.
Beautiful.
What's he asked you to do?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yep.
Let him show you his power. Let him show you his grace. Let him show you his goodness. Just get out.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Give it a crack.
Yeah.
You got. If you fail, you can go down failing knowing that you listened. Do you know what I mean? But maybe in the failure he's trying to teach you something too.
Yeah, come on.
And God is there, and he loves you. He loves you so much. He just wants you to give it a crack.
Yeah.
Put him first. Just do it.
Yeah. Totally.
Just do it.
Yeah.
He won't tell you about the next thing till you've done the first thing. Just do what he's asked you to do.
Let's go. So
and
good.
go for it.
I love that. Obedience, being obedient to the will of God. I love it. Well, guys, it's been such a pleasure. I feel like we covered so much in such a little time, and we could sit here all day and continue to just unpack and we will have you back on, because I want to continue to get updates and unpack where we're at and the journey of what it is to build church. And so it's so good to have you guys on here. We love you guys, and we're just so glad that you're a part of what we're doing and building God's church and seeing his kingdom go forward. So
thanks,
you guys are awesome.
Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. Should I go straight to outro?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. And if that blessed you, again, share, like, subscribe, all those things. But if you also want to come and check out church, we meet at 9 Quarry Road every week on a Sunday. Come check it out. We kick off at 10 a.m. We like to say 9:30 for a 10 a.m. start. Gives you a margin to get a car park, get a coffee, connect with someone, save a seat. But hopefully we'll see you for the next episode here at Parable Essentials Podcast. We'll see you soon.